Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. If you love breaking down complex ideas into clear, digestible concepts, well, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating, honestly kind of counterintuitive concept about human psychology, habit formation, and the absolute fundamental drivers of human desire. We're going to look closely at a very specific mechanism that drives our behavior. And spoiler alert, it completely challenges the standard narrative of how we think we operate. So get ready to shift your perspective entirely. So, what truly makes things addictive? If you were to ask almost anyone on the street, they'd probably tell you it's all about the reward, right? It's getting the shiny new thing. It's that feeling of winning, the rush of the prize, or just that sudden hit of pleasure. We are completely conditioned to believe that we become addicted to the things we actually get. But what if that is completely backward? What if the secret to deep, unshakable psychological engagement isn't about giving you the reward at all? What if the real power lies in the surprising, almost paradoxical act of simply being denied that reward?
Section 1. The Illusion of Reward, or the Hidden Engine of Addiction.
Okay, let's dive right into this completely flipped logic and see what the source material actually reveals. Listen to this quote straight from our text. Denial of the reward makes something addictive. Now that is a profound core thesis. It's not the fulfillment of the desire that hooks us, it's the actual denial of it. Think about it. When a reward is dangled right in front of us, but kept just out of reach, it doesn't make us walk away. Instead, it flips a switch in our brains. It locks our focus. It literally turns a casual interest into a burning compulsion. The absence of the reward is the actual trigger here. Let's break down exactly what we mean by that. Denial is the mechanism that makes us want and crave more by intentionally withholding the expected outcome or reward. It absolutely turns standard logic on its head. You'd naturally think that if you don't get a reward, you'd simply stop trying, right? Just give up and move on. But human psychology is way more complex than that. The withholding creates a void, and our minds absolutely hate a void. The denial creates this intense sense of scarcity, and suddenly that reward becomes the literal only thing that matters. Moving on to Section 2, Denial in Gaming and Digital Habit Formation. We're going to shift gears slightly to see how this incredibly powerful psychological lever is pulled in the digital world. Our source explicitly states that denial of the reward makes games addictive. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates our core concept in action. I mean, think about the most engaging games you've ever played. Do you win every single time? Do you get the absolute highest tier of loot every single time you open a chest? No way. If you did, you'd get bored in 5 minutes. The game actively denies you the reward. You miss the jump, you lose the match, you pull that digital slot machine lever and get standard loot instead of the legendary glowing armor. That strict, calculated denial of the reward is exactly what keeps you coming back, trying just one more time, completely hooked by the absence of the win. Section 3. Restricting addictive substances. The chemical parallel. Now, we're going to raise the stakes a bit. We're moving from the digital landscape into the intense reality of chemical dependencies. Now, what's really interesting here is the striking parallel drawn directly from our source text. We are literally weighing games against drugs. The text notes that denial and restriction of addictive substances, like drugs, make people want and crave them more. The underlying mechanism is completely identical. In gaming, it's the denial of the digital reward. In chemical addiction, it's the denial and restriction of the physical substance. The restriction doesn't diminish the desire, it dramatically amplifies it. It's the very act of being cut off, of being restricted, that fuels the intense psychological and physiological fire. Which brings us to Section 4, the psychology of craving and wanting more. Let's synthesize what we've just learned about both digital denial and chemical restriction to uncover the final core mechanism. Let's walk through this 3-step cycle of addiction together. Step 1. You have the baseline, the substance or the game. This is just the initial exposure. But the real trap is Step 2, denial and restriction. The reward or the substance is pulled away. It becomes scarce. And that inevitably forces Step 3, wanting and craving more. The source text explicitly links these steps. The lack of the substance, or the withholding of the digital reward, directly creates the heightened craving. You aren't just craving the item, you are reacting to the restriction of it. So the absolute crucial point is this. Denial and restriction are the true engines here. They force the wanting, they force the craving. And this is why this matters for you to understand. Take a quick second to reflect on your own daily habits and desires. When you find yourself endlessly scrolling on your phone, or constantly checking for an update, or craving a specific indulgence, is it because you actually love the reward you finally get? Or is it because the system is intentionally restricting it, denying it to you just enough to keep you desperately on the hook? Which brings us to our final lingering thought for this explainer. Are we addicted to the reward or simply addicted to the wanting? If denial is the true engine of addiction, as our source material proves, well, then the actual prize is almost irrelevant. It is the space between us and the prize, the restriction, the scarcity, the unmet desire that truly controls our minds. It's a fascinating puzzle of human psychology, and it completely changes how we view our own behaviors. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep questioning the mechanics behind your everyday habits.